The other day, my daughter and I went to Burlington Coat Factory where I came upon this Christmas themed throw. I remembered immediately that my sister shared why not make pillowcase covers for the seasons rather than having to have themed pillows where you would have to deal with how to store them. So go ahead and check out this video. This is how I decided to make two of those pillowcase covers from this throw. So to begin off with, I did fold my throw inside out so that the solid red color is showing on the outside for right now, which is going to be the inside of the pillowcase. I placed my pillow on top where I wanted to cut, giving myself at least like a 2-inch allowance all the way around. One shorter end of that pillowcase is, as you can see, at least 4 and maybe a little bit of change inches, so that allows me to work with how I wanted to close my pillowcase. That when you're cutting out your template or your pillow form or pillowcase, you want to make sure you allow enough space to stuff that pillow form or your cushion inside of so that you have enough room to close your pillowcase. I'm gonna go on the short end just to make sure I get this pillow form set up pretty well, you guys. Okay, guys, my daughter just brought me dinner. I keep telling her she needs to do her own channel. You guys tell her she needs to do her own channel. So we have some halibut with the dirty type rice and some green beans. Ooh, hot. It's good, good. This is coming out pretty well. Now, typically, you guys, I don't like to deal with pattern material because you do have to be very careful in lining it up so that it doesn't go lopsided on you. But if you take your time and use clips or pins to keep it together as you are actually joining it together, you should be just fine. And this is all in fun. Now I have to go ahead and figure out how I actually want to enclose the pillowcase. Again, I want this to be functional in that I can remove the pillow form or cushion so that I can wash it and store it for the next season. Here at the opening of the pillowcase, I'm going to fold it back and actually use glue to keep that folded edge. It will serve obviously as two purposes. One, it makes it look better, and then lastly, it will prevent the material from unraveling. Okay, you guys, so this is what I meant when I wanted to finish all the way from this edge to the other, and I'm gonna go ahead and flip it over and do the other side. Here you see the benefit of me placing that cushion at the folded edge really closely, so that allows me this extra space right here to be able to figure out how I want to encase or close my pillowcase. And I just found out how I'm going to do that. In order to fasten my pillowcase closed, I made knots. I made knots out of the border of the blanket, and then I sewed them onto the actual end of the opening of the pillowcase. Now, this is the part where I am going to sew. I know that I said I did not really want to sew, but I have to sew these in because I want them to be flexible enough to be, to go through like a buttonhole. But I'll show you
what I'm going to
Now,
do.
you can absolutely have this be a complete no-sew project. I am opting to sew my button on because I want it flexible and I want to be able to launder or wash this pillowcase without worrying about it coming apart. Also, you want to be sure to only sew in that area right there at the center, just as you would a buttonhole, so that it's allowed to be able to be buttoned through. Now, once I figured out my placement for my buttonhole, I took my Surebonder glue gun and did a very almost non-existent amount of glue for that line and used my X-Acto knife. This can be precarious, so if I were you, you can use a seam ripper or scissors or some other tool to cut your buttonhole in anything or any way that you choose. Be sure to use caution. Once I got that buttonhole, I then once again reinforced it with the glue gun just so that it does not become frayed or unraveled. I attached the other two buttons using the same method, and then I was finally done.